just quick words on Joe Willock. This is obviously sourced from Google and other accounts, but without talking about without talking about Joe Willock just yet, I think it was. I'd say obviously Arsenal lost, so it's never a good game. But so far, the games I've seen this week, I think the West Ham game was good, but I would say Southampton versus Newcastle was a very good game as a neutral, and definitely Everton versus Manchester United yesterday. I mean, United bottled a 2-goal lead, got themselves back ahead. Obviously, last kick of their game, it's a Mazzolini. It was a crazy game, and I'll probably do a review of the Premier League action tomorrow. I know there's one game left, which will be Tuesday, so the Tuesday action will follow in relation to the DG podcast. Make sure you're following on Spotify. Big up all the viewers on Twitch as well. But yeah, man, it had everything in that game, man. It had debut goals for obviously our lad Joe Willock. Minamino's gone to Southampton from Liverpool. Had debut goals, had a wonderful free kick from James Ward-Prowse, had a red card, had Ings hitting the post, had VAR, if I remember correctly. It had everything. It was a very good game from a neutral point of view. Southampton might have been able to get something out of the game on another day. But for Arsenal, obviously, you're hoping we can pick up where we left off, or at least Joe Willock can in his next games. Obviously, he's got a lot of football to be played in the Premier League. So while we hope this is how he hopes to continue, we can't draw too many conclusions with Joe Willock. Obviously, it's a wonderful debut. You're having a good game for Newcastle, a big club, a heavily supported club. You've got a legend in Alan Shearer praising you. Ian Wright on Match of the Day and them things praising you. Everybody's singing your praises. Fans on social media saying thank you for him. Again, I think it's a good fit for Joe. Again, shout out to Hayden as well. He also had a good game for Newcastle, fellow Arsenal lad. I think it's easy to see why they fell in love immediately with Joe Willock. Obviously, we know he's got a lot of energy. We know he's got a lot of gear. We know he mucks in a lot. And I think Joe Willock showed that. Obviously, the goal, midfield runners, he's got legs. He simply continues his run and he taps home. He won't score an easier goal. And it's a dream debut for him, people. So again, Joe Willock kind of showed in that game what we know from him. He's got energy. He's got intention. He puts himself about. I feel he was almost hard done by. He probably should have had some couple of assists as well, to be fair. Definitely for Wilson. I can't remember correctly, but one maybe for John Joe Shelby. If that's his debut, I hope he continues to leave off. If I scrutinize it a bit, I could say I ain't really learned anything about Joe Willock based on that game. I know he's got energy. I know he's got legs. I know he's got an eye for goal. So, as much as I'm not belittling it, I'm just looking at it on a neutral thing. I think he's done well, but that's it. On another hand, you could say as well, Newcastle might be a better fit for Joe. For us, you want Joe Willock to obviously come back to Arsenal, a better player, able to break into the first team or more competent. Other than that, you want him to be put into the shop window. That's what I mean. Put yourself into 2 shop windows. Go and remind Arteta you need to get game time, because apparently from summer times he was telling you to go on loan. Or if you can't do that, go and put yourself in the shop window for Thingy. Shop window either to stay at Newcastle permanently or any other Premier League teams, people. By default, for being a young man playing in the Premier League, Southgate's probably keeping eyes on you and you've probably registered onto his radar just by that. So again, I want to see more, but it was convincing from Joe Willock as well, people. Like I said, it had everything in this game. It was a fantastic game to watch from a neutrals, and definitely off the back of Arsenal's disgraceful performance, it gave me a lot. Maybe this is, again, I don't want to draw too many conclusions because he will have good and bad games, but maybe Newcastle is a better fit for Joe Willock. It's less intricate, it's more busy, with all due respect, that could be for him. And like I said, we already know a lot about Joe. We know he's hustle and bustle, but in terms of ideas and invention on the ball, that's what I need to see him display by the end of the Newcastle loan, people. I know he can put himself around, show me a bit of quality on the ball, which he did yesterday. Keep it up. As you lot can see here, Joe Willock scored, created 2 chances for his teammates, won a game high of 5 tackles, and also made a team high of 2 interceptions on his debut. So we know he puts himself around. We know he mucks in for the cause. He had a pass accuracy of 60%. That could be better as well, people. And also, yeah, man, he took 35 touches, played 2 key passes, attempted 2 dribbles, made 5 tackles, as we said, 2 interceptions and 2 clearances. So maybe, this tells me it's all engineered, but in terms of, that added quality on the ball, probably needs to show a bit more, but let's see where he goes, man. It's a good debut for the young lad, and he only attempted 11 passes in the whole game, so we know Joe puts himself around, but that little bit of quality on the ball to open up a team or try and dictate the tempo, he needs to, that again, it's his first game of the loan and he's played well, but he needs to do better in that regards. Do you get it? So again, that class. In games where it's high demanded and high energy, Joe does his thing. But beyond that, you need other fit. You need a bit more class about you. And like I said, to wrap it up, people, in relation to Joe, you hope that this loan can obviously give him the confidence to break through at Arsenal a bit more, or obviously put himself in the shop window. Because as you lot know, you've got Guendouzi, Torreira, Maitland-Niles, and Willock all on loan. Probably, ideally, all of them could have a future here, or all of them would be sold for profit. Some of them probably have to come back. And they've all got around the same sort of period left on their deal. So it's going to be interesting what we do with Joe Willock, Maitland-Niles, Guendouzi, and Torreira. I'm inclined to believe Torreira and Guendouzi are gone. Maitland-Niles might leave permanently. I think Joe will come back. Joe will have a future. I think, this loan is in an ideal world. He keeps continuing like this. He'd probably sign a new deal, protecting his resale value, and then have more of a task of breaking in. Because as you lot know, even El Nene probably ain't going to be here next season. Odegaard and Ceballos are here on loan. Xhaka will probably be here, but his future from time to time speculated. So Partey is the only player you could say really could be here in an ideal world, convincingly say could be here in the next 2-3 years. And even with him, you're taking a risk now because we're seeing he's a bit injury prone, to put it nicely. So long may it continue, Joe Willock. Hopefully Joe can continue to do his thing, people, and we're supporting young Joe Willock all the way, people. So that's that in relation to Joe Willock. As you lot can see, I'm doing my timestamps. Now, if we go on to Maitland-Niles, as I've said, people, Maitland-Niles has been named in the starting lineup for the West Bromwich Albion game, people. You know me, during that game. Sorry, people, I'm trying to find my notes. During that game, obviously, after the game, I obviously, offer my own thoughts, what I've seen him do, what I think he could have done better, etc., etc. But he's got his start, and for me, it's fantastic for Maitland-Niles. Like I said, obviously, I hope he continues kind of how Joe Willock said it in his debut game. It'd be wonderful if first and foremost West Bromwich Albion could beat Spurs, but if Maitland-Niles plays well, man of the match sort of stuff, or also has a good game, it'd be fantastic. For Maitland-Niles, it's all down to him now. Big Sam has said you're going to play in midfield. That's what he wants to do. Go and put yourself, like Joe, we're looking in the shop window. Go and say to Arteta, you shouldn't have loaned me out. You should have played me more at right back. But also he's got to play, also he's got to show that he can actually play well in midfield. Apologies. Somebody said, why do you stamp? What are you talking about? Time stamps for people not listening in right now. It obviously gives them an opportunity if they watch this live stream again. But like I was saying before I was interrupted, with Maitland-Niles, you want to see him show Arteta that, my versatility could have been utilised to show him I can be part of this future. To show him also that, whatever way we look at it, Maitland-Niles never got a chance in midfield under Arteta, really. And that's the same said for a couple of managers here. Maybe Maitland-Niles are done by, but if you're overlooked kind of there by Arteta, Emre, and you probably are missing out. Wenger didn't really play you there, sporadically. He was more at fullback. There's got to be a reason as to why they've all played you there. Go and prove that they're all maybe don't know what they're talking about. Also, go and put yourself in the shop window for Southgate. Maybe if West Brom stay up, they can take you permanently. Maybe other Premier League teams, because you saw Southampton and Leicester were interested in you. Go and show them that you can play in midfield. For me, I would love Maitland-Niles to stay. I think he's got versatility. What I want him to do, though, is when you return to Arsenal, can you return as a midfielder able to play fullback, or as a fullback able to play in midfield? That's what we need from Maitland-Niles. It's all on him now. You've got a platform, go out and do it. For me, Maitland-Niles, he can carry a ball, he can pass, he's got good qualities. But in terms of, beat that urgency, that's the one aspect he's got to show glaring improvements. And I think West Bromwich Albion, you're going to be part of a low block 9 times out of 10, trying to stay penned in, trying to hold your position. So there's a lot for Maitland-Niles to potentially learn. Hopefully he can play well in this game. As I said, he's got his debut today against Spurs away from home. They're fighting relegation. He's 23 years of age now. Football's got real. There's no shield or comfortability of being at Arsenal. There's none of that now. They're fighting for their careers. They're trying to stay in the division. It's as simple as that. If we look at Maitland-Niles himself, he gave he spoke finally to West Bromwich Albion, and I say finally because I was looking for this, people. As you lot know, Ainsley Maitland-Niles apparently is relishing the opportunity to play regular football and be part of the fight at West Brom, people. I need to upgrade something here. Let me zoom in because I don't know if you lot can fully see. As I said, he's 23 years of age. He became their 5th signing, second midfield signing in hindsight then, because they got a lad from Celta Vigo, and he's joined mid-season losing in a relegation fight. There's no time for niceties. Obviously, the luxury of adapting to the team, all of these things are valid, but he has to hit the ground running. They're looking at it as, like I said, they're fighting relegation. They're trying to stay in the league. People are fighting for their futures. This man's won an FA Cup, played over 100 times for Arsenal, and England international. You should be Premier League proven and able to hit the ground running quicker rather than later. So again, the niceties are gone. And for me, crucially, I thought he was going to play midfield and fullback. We've been abundantly told you're playing midfield. Obviously, there's versatility to be had, you know. It's this loan spell is what Ainsley Maitland-Niles makes it. You know, they're not going to just give him game time to it develops him for Arsenal. It's not going to do much for West Bromwich Albion. Obviously, you're hoping Maitland-Niles can do well on loan at West Brom as well. Last lad that went on loan to West Brom didn't do too well and went off to higher heights. We did hear as well agent fees scuppered potential moves to other Premier League teams, people. But Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who has now taken his second loan spell away from Arsenal after the Ipswich one and his first in the Premier League, people, he has said it's fantastic to have the opportunity to play regularly in the Premier League. So he's already said it in the first. He's left to play football, people. And also Arteta said that. He said, it's all I ever wanted, to show the world how good I am. So what does that tell you? All Ainsley Maitland-Niles wanted was a platform. You now got your platform. He's also said, I want to say a huge thank you to all the West Bromwich Albion fans. They've sent me a lot of messages on social media. I'm proud to be a member of the club and I want to kick on from here. Their messages give me the energy and drive to keep on going every single day. We're in a tough situation at the moment. I want to be part of the fight. I want to grit my teeth, get down and dirty and see how I come out of it. I want to come out on top of it and I want the team to come out on top of it. Exactly, people. So that's what I want to hear from Maitland-Niles. He's under no illusion. You know, he could just be in la, finally getting a time to play regular football. No, this is the nastiest now. You're gonna have to learn on the job. They're fighting for they're fighting to stay in the league. They're fighting for spaces in the first team. You know, you've joined mid-season. The fans have been giving you high praise, but as you know, in football, that energy can turn real quickly. But I like that from Ainsley Maitland-Niles. He's of no illusion that at 23, it's now time to certify myself. I haven't really got time to waste and I'm going in a dogfight and I want to show my quality. For me, hopefully he goes there, he shows his quality, shows his ability to fight and he comes back to Arsenal as a better player. Personally, I think it's to put himself in the shop window because who better? You know, again, there'll still be question marks as to whether he's a right back or whatever, but think about it. If Joe Willock can come back as a better player for the squad, if Maitland-Niles can come back as a more rounded midfielder who could be utilised there as well as at fullback, what better to help us than the homegrown lads rather than, you know, these other people? Because like I said, off the top of my head, Guendouzi, Torreira, and Nene, based on two being out on loan, one's contract, all three of them should be moved on. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't bring in other players, clearly, but who better to utilise in the squad than Maitland-Niles? And for me, I just want you to be able to prove that you have some use, whether that's at right back or in midfield. I want you to show Arteta again. And, you know, a lot was said about how he trains and things like that. So a lot of people are going to be watching this with scrutiny. And like he said, hopefully I'm a player who can help this club survive in the Premier League. There's always an opportunity. It's about having the right structure and the right players around you. Sam has done that when you look at the last 4 days of the transfer window. The biggest achievement for me this season here at West Bromwich Albion would be the team staying up. Any more than that, and I'd be trust. I've met everyone now. Everybody's welcoming. It's no nonsense in training. Get down and dirty straight away. I can't wait to get going. And that's it. You've got a platform now. Games are coming thick and fast. Football is real, people. You know, you're playing against Spurs who are angry because they've been bottling points. They want the 3 points just as much as you. They want to get into the Champions League. You're trying to stay in the division. Harry Kane is somehow is fit in some capacity. Admittedly, I don't know if he's on the bench. I don't know if he's starting. I'd be inclined to believe he's starting because he's warming up. So yeah, you're going against tough games and tough oppositions. And I think what would have made this extra special for Ainsley Maitland-Niles is actually if the Spurs fans were there, we'd be clearly getting booed and things like that. It's real now. You know, come 90 minutes, if you're not doing the job, you might not start the next game. So I'm happy for Ainsley Maitland-Niles as well as Joe Willock, people. So let's see. Obviously, if you haven't come across it, I think on Friday, Big Sam kind of told you lot where he's using Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Now, let's be honest, people. Maitland-Niles, it is a dream to have someone like that in your team, just in terms of versatility. I'm not saying the individual, just somebody. It's good to have someone that can fill in a couple of positions. But what, you know, and he needs to look at someone like James Milner. But what he needs to do is certify I'm a midfielder who can do a job at fullback if needed, or I'm a fullback if needed. Look at Saka. Saka's undoubtedly a left or right winger with the ability to play at fullback if need be, if push comes to shove. Obviously, with that, you've actually seen Saka last season play as a midfield 8 of sorts. You've also seen him play as a 10, but you get the point. 23 years of age, it's now time to get regular football, develop, and start putting down some real markers now. And for me, crucially, it's about regular football, because how many times have you seen people like Ainsley, if they play bad, shouldn't be in the team, but he'll boss it and then you'll not be in the team. I want to see you be able to boss it twice a week. So football's got real now. It's got real. There's plenty. It's a like all transfers, it's a marriage, temporary marriage or relationship of convenience. Ainsley Maitland-Niles gets a platform. Obviously, Sam Allardyce gets strengthened reinforcements to help him stay in the league, people. Let's see how it is, people. But I want to see, obviously, in terms of playing in midfield, it's there. Big Sam has said it here, people. You know, it's why he came to West Brom. We're playing him in the position he wants to play, and his most favorite position, the one he came up through, is centre mid. There you have it, people. You know, it's one of the reasons why he chose West Bromwich Albion. You know, you probably would get more game time there versus the midfielders that Southampton have and Leicester. Again, he'd be a manager's dream if he goes to Wolves, if he stays at Arsenal, if he goes to Southampton, if he goes to Leicester. All of these teams, you know, he gets into them. He has it all. You know, he can play on either fullback as well as midfield. But is he going to start at any of these teams at right back as first choice, as left back at first choice, in midfield? This is where he needs to go, people. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Big up all the Twitch gang as well. Please.